I've got a state record sucker here, actually, that I'm gonna show you. We're gonna fillet it up because I'm not getting it mounted, but we're gonna fillet it up. We've also got some other sucker fillets. We're gonna show you a couple of different things that you can do with suckers to utilize them. Typically in a lot of bodies of water, there's lots of these fish. They're fairly easy to catch. All you need is a bottom rig with some worms. So it's not like it's rocket science, and you can make some good meals. So we're gonna show you how. Here, just a second, aren't we, bud?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Okay, now first things first, got my electric fillet knife. This is the one that I like to use. It's just a Bass Pro Shop XPS 10-inch. And then I want to show you something about this fish because we talk a lot about caring for your catch. You can see this little hole in the back of this guy's head. As soon as I caught this fish, I took my needle nose pliers actually and just punched them right through into the brain to kill this fish right away. The reason I do that is to reduce the stress on the fish. And then I also bled the fish. So I took out some of these, some of the gills so that it would bleed out. That probably didn't help my state record. I probably lost some ounces there, but that's okay. But this is a long nose sucker. Really, I mean, they're ugly, obviously. I mean, if you look at that face, it's only a face a mother could love, right? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this meat off, take this fillet off, just like you would a walleye, a trout, anything like that. We're gonna take this off and then we're gonna show you how to process it. So here we go. Start by making a cut along the back side of the head, just like I did there. And I'm gonna make a small incision on the belly. Okay. So now the guts are starting to come out, but I've got a clear path for everything. I'm gonna make a cut right here. And I'm gonna go along the spine. Okay, and I go all the way through, and you'll see when I flip this over, there's some of the roe. I've got the fillet off. Now, I don't know what it is about long nose suckers, but they have kind of this black lining inside their rib cage. Doesn't affect anything, don't worry about it. But now, we've got this fillet that we'll take the rib bones out and we'll clean it up and we'll make some food out of this, but that's one fillet. So now all I have to do is get the other side, just flip it over, do the same thing, come here behind the back of the head, get down to the spine. You don't want to cut through this spine, but you want to get to it. Flip it all the way down. Pull this row off and you can see some of that black lining kind of tore off. Like I said, that's kind of a strange thing that they have. But you can see this meat. Super good looking meat. There's a lot of bones in there. That's why a lot of people are afraid of suckers besides the kisser on their face. But we're gonna make something really good out of this. So stay tuned for the next part. All right, now that we've got the fillets off, we have to take these rib bones out. And this is where a lot of people get hung up in the fillet process. It's really not as bad as you think. The key is you just have to get in behind these with the blade and work them down. And they only go to right here. So the rest of this is belly meat. So really all we're worried about is just getting these off, and it comes all the way down to here. So you're basically going around this way. You're gonna take them off. So I'm gonna do that on both of these fillets so that you can see it. I also did something else. I did cut off some of the back meat. So on the back of the fish, this is great for cut bait. So I'm gonna cut this into little chunks to use for fishing for lake trout, catfish, things like that. So I got a couple of bonus chunks off there, and you can take off as much as you want. So here we go. We're gonna just kind of get started there. I'm just going lightly so I could get to where I could get a hold of it because it's slippery. Okay. See, it's starting to lay over. You can see the ribs. You can see I'm not losing much meat there. What do you think, Benjamin? Working out okay? Once you get it towards the end, then you can just kind of and grab it and pull, and it comes right off, which is nice. So those ribs are gone. Now what you can do, again, this can make decent bait down here. There wasn't a lot of meat, so I'm going to take just this section off, if I can get it cut off. And we'll use this for cut bait as well. I mean, you want to utilize as much of this fish as possible. So these are things that I can chunk up and make into bait. If you want to put this on a tube jig for lake trout, put it on a bottom rig for catfish, it's great stuff. But this is what the finished fillet should look like. Now, depending on what I would be doing with this fish, I could take the skin off as well. But this one, this particular longnose, one thing I've noticed about them is they have a lot of grease. It feels like there's a lot of oil in their meat. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna take this one and the other longnose, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna brine them and smoke them. So I'm gonna put them in my bowl over here with the other fish, and we're gonna repeat with this one. So basically, you know now after watching that how to take out these rib bones. The biggest key is don't cut too much into the meat. Just try to go right underneath the bones till the very end, then just pull, tear them away, and you're good. Okay, now Ben and I are gonna take some of these cleaned up sucker fillets. If you watch the time lapse, what we did is we tried to take off a lot of this red stuff because it's super strong tasting, but we're left with a bunch of meat. So I'm gonna have Ben help me. So I'm gonna give him a stack of some of these. Most of these or actually all these are white suckers. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut them up into chunks to pickle. They make great pickled fish. So we're gonna go about an inch like that. Inch wide by inch, so chunks just about that size for pickling. Yep, just like that, buddy. Nope, yep, and then set it back down and cut it the other way. So now set it down, cut it that way.
Okay.
Yep.
That?
Yep, just like that. And then you take these chunks, we're gonna make a nice little stack here.
Okay.
So we'll speed it up a little bit. All right, so you saw how we cut up sucker for pickled sucker, and Ben did a good job. He helped me out with that. Now we got a plastic container full of mostly these longnose sucker. I did leave a white sucker in here just to try it. But again, they feel like they have a lot more oil content than say like a walleye, which is like my favorite thing to eat. But they feel like they have a lot of oil content, which tells me they're probably really good smoked. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use some Hi Mountain Seasonings fish brine. We're gonna put it in here. We're gonna mix it up, and we're gonna let this sit for 24 hours, get a good brine on it. Then we're gonna rinse it off really good. We're gonna let it develop a pellicle, and then we're gonna smoke them up with some apple wood, pull the bones out, hopefully have an amazing meal. I don't know, I've never tried it. You've never tried it. We've done the pickled stuff, and you love it. I'm not a big fan of pickled fish, but Benjamin eats it like it's really good or something. And my friend Josh loves it, so Josh is gonna get some pickled fish too. And then I have another video we might just kind of insert. The last time I caught a state record, when I caught the white sucker state record, we made some fish cakes. They were like a, I don't know, they were like a fried fish cake. And those were pretty good. Yeah. But I'm thinking this smoked stuff's gonna be off the charts. What do you think?
Better.
Think it'll be good? Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Like
Ben's usually right.
I like pickled sucker.
You like pickled sucker. So we'll do some of that. We're gonna smoke some fish, and we're gonna show you the whole process. And then we're actually gonna show you us trying it, and you'll see whether our faces are like cringeworthy or, man, this is awesome. And we're not gonna, just for a fact, be smiling if we don't like it. If we actually like it, we're gonna tell you like it. If we don't like it, we're gonna tell you that too. So we're gonna get to it. We've got our fish in the gourmet fish brine from Hi Mountain Seasonings. So you can see that here. So we got all of our fish fillets in. Remember to use a plastic bowl. If you use a metal bowl, you're going to regret it. It's going to taste terrible. And it'll probably ruin some things. Use a plastic bowl. Use the gourmet fish brine from Hi Mountain Seasonings. It's HIMTNjerky.com. And then get these bad boys a soaking. So I've got my fillets in here. Gonna let them soak for 24 hours. Then we're gonna rinse them. Let the pellicle develop on them. Smoke them and try them out. So can't wait to try that. And then we're gonna get some pickled fish going too.
Yeah.
So here we go. Okay, so we put together our pickled fish. I suggest you get a pickled fish recipe like. Show them what you got, Ben. So Ben has a jar of pickled sucker. And if you look close, you can see different ingredients. It's a little cloudy because we just put it together. It's a recipe that I got from a good friend of mine, Jim Zumbo. So mostly with a few slight modifications because we don't have a bunch of onion, but that's okay. We've got that, another one of these. But I do want to mention, if you're doing pickled fish of any kind, get the pickling salt. If you get iodized salt, it gets really cloudy and ugly looking. So look for the one with the green box. That's the one you want. And no, Morton is not a sponsor. Ben, pretty soon, about 4 weeks, you can try a piece of this pickled fish. We're gonna put it in the back of the fridge where it's nice and cold. Let it do its thing. What's gonna happen is the vinegar is gonna break down all those bones. And so it's not gonna be a bunch of bony meat anymore. And Benjamin loves this stuff, so he's very excited about it. We'll try it out here in about a month or a little bit better. Check that out. Huh?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Bye.
All right, the smoked sucker is done. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try some. So let's see here. Here it is. Just came out of the smoker not too long ago. I did put a little bit of black pepper, some garlic on top of it. I always do that. I also did let the pellicle build up so that it's, you know, nice and tacky and the smoke actually sticks to it really well. So I'm gonna grab a chunk of this, try it on camera so you can say you actually did try this. So smoked sucker. It's really good. It's very oily, kind of like a, I guess, oil consistency of like a lake trout or something like that. Has a little bit of a sweetness to the flavor of the meat. It's really good. So yeah, smoked sucker. You can try it. I think it's awesome. One thing about it though is it's very bony, so you got to pick through it. But highly underutilized fish. Really delicious though. So try it out. Get some Hi Mountain Seasonings, some gourmet fish brine. Try smoking out a sucker. I don't know. You might like it.
Thanks for listening to the Angling Wisdom Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please go to patreon.com/anglingwisdom to sign up for bonus content or just to show your support for the show. You can also subscribe wherever you are listening to or watching this podcast. You can follow us on the socials by searching for Angling Wisdom on Instagram or Facebook.